Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and today we're going to be talking about the Criterion flash sale that is about to occur. So today I have some recommendations for it. Normally the Criterion flash sale is a flash sale that happens during the month of either February or March. Hence today, it's in the middle of March, actually towards the tail end of the middle part, but this was later than usual. But regardless, back in November when there was a Criterion sale, I made a video where I talked about 10 essential films and classics that I deem in the Criterion collection. And so today I want to continue that route and also give you 10 more classics. And so today I'm going to be recommending 10 films. I'm going to be going through each of the decades from the 1920s to the 2010s. And yeah, just recommend something for you. And hopefully, if you don't already own this, get an idea of some films that you could possibly own and grab. And like I said, I deem these as classics, so I think these are essentials and something that people should have in their collection. So let's start off with a list, but before we jump into that, I want to know what are some of your favorites and what are some of the things that you plan on picking up for this Criterion flash sale. Let me know in the comment section down below. Is it some of these newer titles, or are there older titles that you want to pick up? I would love to know in the comment section down below. So now let's jump into the 1920s. All right, so for the first classic that I deem essential is a film that actually has two date releases, one in 1925 and the other in 1942, and I'm talking about Gold Rush. The Gold Rush by Charlie Chaplin. And I consider this a 20s film. In fact, I actually like the silent version of this film a little bit better than the 40s version, but this is probably my favorite Charlie Chaplin film, which is not one that everyone says is their favorite. A lot of people really love Modern Times or City Lights or even The Kid, which are all fantastic films as well. But The Gold Rush really speaks to me, and I think is one of the essential Chaplin films that everyone needs to pick up. It's a man literally going up to Alaska to get into the gold rush that's going up there. Yeah, it's just hilarity ensues, and Charlie Chaplin is really great at mixing, a romantic story in together with really, honestly, the shenanigans that, he would see the tramp go through. So if you've not seen any Charlie Chaplin film, just honestly pick most of them. But I would say The Gold Rush is my choice for an essential film that I think everyone should definitely see from the 1920s at least. All right, so moving right along to the 1930s is one of my favorites from the 30s, is another classic film, and It Happened One Night. So this is from Frank Capra. Now, this is actually available in the Columbia box set, the third box set, I believe, and it's also a phenomenal film to own from Criterion. And this is just one of the best screwball-ish comedies from the 30s. So Frank Capra directed it. Claudette Colbert and Clark Gable play these two strangers that come together and more or less just are at each other's throat just by circumstances, but soon there is like a little bit of a romance that blossoms between the two characters, and really just seeing them interact is the best part of this film. There's a lot of really fantastic scenes in this, and just some hijinks that they go through, but I just really love the trajectory of everything that happens in this film, and I think it's incredibly pure and definitely one of the early talkies that really shines. And so yeah, It Happened One Night. If you don't own this Criterion edition, certainly get it from the Columbia box set number 3, but also certainly pick this one up because it is just a phenomenal film and an essential in the collection. All right, moving to the 1940s, in fact only to 1940, is one of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock films of all time, and I'm talking about Rebecca. Right here. Rebecca is a phenomenal film from Alfred Hitchcock, and one of his best films, in my opinion, along with Rear Window and Rope for me personally. So the 3 R's, right? RRR, not the film. But with Rebecca, we have Laurence Olivier and Joan Fontaine in it, and this is just a film that has kind of that gothic feeling to it, but there's like this eerie presence going on in this home where this man marries this young woman. Little to the young woman's knowledge, there was another woman who he was married to called Rebecca, and there's maybe some crazy things going on in the background of the home. But that's probably a really poor way of describing this film. It's really well crafted. I always love seeing early Hitchcock and seeing him experiment with the camera and also just the situations that he puts his characters in. But there are some really scary and essential moments that really make this film stand out. And I really love the way this movie ends, and it's incredible. And also look at that artwork. That artwork is just, it's gorgeous. So yeah, if you've not seen Rebecca, do yourself a favor. This is like one of the best Alfred Hitchcock films out there, and it is an essential in the Criterion collection. All right, now moving to the 50s is one of the most life-affirming films, probably since It Happened One Night back in the decade prior to this one. But I'm talking about Akira Kurosawa's Ikaru right here. So Ikaru follows this aging bureaucrat who really hasn't really put two and two together where his life is going. So this is actually played by Takashi Shimura, who plays Kanji Watanabe, who is actually about to die of cancer, and really he's trying to figure out what can he do in his final days to really make a difference and an impact in life. And that's what really has so striking about this film in particular. Kurosawa, of course, we know him for a lot of his samurai films, but this is one of those special ones that lays outside of that, alongside like High and Low and whatnot. But this is an essential film from the 50s and from Kurosawa, and I honestly think that the 50s were the best decades for him, besides maybe the 80s, at least in my opinion. But Ikaru is definitely one of those films that, like I said, if you watch this film, you'll be happy that you're around. It'll put a smile on your face. It's melancholic in a way, but it's certainly an essential film, and everyone should check it out if you've not seen it before or own it. All right, so now we're moving to the 1960s, in fact, the early 60s, to 1961, directed by Jack Clayton. We're talking about The Innocence. This is actually one of my favorite horror movies in the entire collection, and is certainly one that I think everyone should see. Wow, this movie is an eerily gothic tale of a woman who goes a little bit mad, and the children that she's around, but there's some specters in the home itself and outside the home, and there's some just absolutely amazing shots, and ones that you just think, like, how did they make that film? This is where there's like the combination of a film that really like just gets on your nerves a little bit, at the same time you just can't look away because of just how gorgeous and how stunning everything looks. And so this is a film that I think a lot of people maybe have talked about in the past, but maybe has not been talked about enough more recently. And so this is certainly one that I highly recommend, is an essential in the Criterion collection, especially from the 1960s. All right, so moving to the late 70s, in fact, 1979, to a film by Andrew Bergman. We're talking about The Inlaws. Alan Arkin and Peter Falk. Oh my God, what a comedy duo. This is actually, in my opinion, probably the best comedy in the entire if you're going to take away all the slapstick stuff, like the silence. I think The In-Laws is the best comedy in the entire collection. So that's a huge thing to say, of course, but it really just checks all the marks for me, because I love slapstick, and I love absolutely insane bits, right? And that's what this film is chock full of. And in fact, I love there's an opening part of this film where there's bank robbers. They're robbing, looking for one thing in particular, and they just see all this money, and they're like, it's like, ah, shit. It's just money. And like that subtle stuff right there is just like so hilarious, and just the timing is perfect. In fact, I probably didn't even sell it, but this is just a film that you will just lose yourself watching, because of just the hilarity and the hijinks that are involved with this movie. But it's an essential film for many reasons, but it's certainly one that I highly recommend. If you've not seen The In-Laws, you're in for yourself a treat. You will not know where this goes, because it's a very serpentine movie. So anyway, check out The In-Laws if you've not seen it before. All right, so moving from that comedy, we are going to a horrifying film, one of the most horrifying films in the collection. It's one that's actually been talked about quite a bit, but I still think that people should own in their collection. So if you've not seen this, like, what are you doing? I'm probably like the 100th person to tell you to watch this, but I'm talking about Come and See from 1985. It's directed by a Soviet director, Ilham Klimov. I probably said it wrong, but it's in Belarusian, Russian, German, and English. Has English subtitles. But wow, this movie is it's super hard to explain how horrifying this film is. It's one that needs to be seen, right? Of course, and it's one that really will chill you to your bone. To the types of horrors that this young man endures, and then also at the same time that we have to witness alongside him. So it's a harrowing film, but it's a mandatory film. I think it's definitely something that everyone and their mother needs to see, even if it's going to make you super uncomfortable. Come and See is a film that everyone should definitely have to check out. An essential from the 1980s. All right, so moving from there, we're going to the late 1990s to 1999 from a film from Claire Denis, and we're talking about Beau Travail. Now, Beau Travail is a film that I have only recently watched, but it is a masterpiece. This film, just the masculinity that unfolds, and in such a way that you wouldn't expect it from you know, you would go to something like this where all these soldiers who are occupying in a colony, and seeing their day-to-day routine, but along the same time looking at their masculinity, their sexuality, and just looking at their emotions and the things that they go through. And this is something that I really, really, really enjoyed my first watch. And like I said, I've only seen it the one time, but it's one that like really blew me away, and one that I just want to keep revisiting, I think, in the future. So this is an essential from the 90s, even though I've only seen it the one time. But if you've not seen Beau Travail or any of the works of Claire Denis, you're in for a treat. There's definitely something here, I think, for most people, and so that's why I deem it essential, and an essential film from the 90s. So Beau Travail is my choice for that. All right, so we're going to the 2000s, but not too far. From 1999 to 2001, we're talking about a beautiful film from Alfonso Cuarón, and that's Y Tu, Mamá Tambien. This is one of the best, I think, box sets, like just a standalone film in the collection. I just love this gorgeous film, and the box set alone. Yes, this film stars Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal, along with the beautiful Maribel Verdú, and their journey through sexuality, and these two horny teenagers really lusting after this older woman who comes to this wedding, and their journey just along the way. It sounds like a really weird premise, but it really is a beautiful thing to see this adolescence, and just also to see this, like, the mistakes, and then also just to see the life that unfolds in this short amount of time for these three individuals. And I just love the way that Alfonso Cuarón does a lot of beautiful cinematography, but also just setups for these characters. There's very memorable scenes in this that really break to the heart of like what makes these three people drawn to each other, and it's really impactful. And I think a lot of people should check it out. If you've not seen Y Tu, Mamá Tambien, I think you're in for a treat. This is definitely an essential in the collection. And last but not least, we're jumping all the way up to 2019, so into the 2010s, to a film that just came out and is also on the BFI Sight and Sound, and I love that it is. But it's from Celine Sciamma, and is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Wow. So this movie just came out a few years ago and is an essential film. But like I said, it's got Marianne, who is played by Naomi Merlant, and also Heloise, played by Adele Hanel. I probably said those names incorrectly, but both of those women really lose themselves in each other. And there's this woman who is tasked to paint. She was hired to paint this other woman, and in a very isolated place. But there's something more than that that's going on at play. And so I'm not really describing this film too well, mainly because it really is a film to be seen, right? It's not really one to be described because of the will they, won't they, the cat and mouse game that they're playing with each other, and but also at the same time, there's an element of trust. There's a relationship context going on behind the scenes as well. The politics that they have to deal with. There's a lot going on in this film, and like I said, it's kind of indescribable. So it's a gorgeous film. It's a beautiful film. It'll make you cry. It'll make you smile. There's moments that'll make you laugh as well. But it is certainly an essential film in the collection. So With that being said, those are 10 essential films, in my opinion, that you should get from the Criterion Collection. If you own all of them, well, let me know what you think I should talk about for essential films, or at least let me know in the comment section down below what other essential films do you have for people to pick up for this flash sale. But also, I'm excited to check out what you're going to be picking up for the flash sale. So let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Got some notes for this fun 24-hour sale that's going to happen. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Give it a like, comment down below, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and I will see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.